So now I am going to start the topic kinematics. So in this topic, we discuss the motion of a particle with acceleration and also motion of the particle without acceleration. But we do not discuss about the forces which cause the acceleration, which are responsible for acceleration. This topic kinematics is more or less like mathematics, basic mathematics. It's a topic of part of dynamics, which is considered to be part of applied mathematics. So first I discuss the terms distance, displacement, speed, velocity, and acceleration. So later I discuss motion with uniform acceleration. So most of the students are familiar with these terms at the school level itself. But we review the basic concepts in the approach that is needed for preparation of entrance examinations. So distance and displacement. Coming to the first two terms, distance is a scalar quantity, displacement is a vector quantity. Suppose if a particle is in motion for a certain interval of time, the distance covered by the particle is the actual length of the path along which the particle has traveled or moved. So the distance covered by the particle is the total length of the path along which the particle has actually traveled or moved, which is a scalar quantity. But displacement is a vector quantity having both magnitude and direction. The magnitude of the displacement of the particle is defined as the shortest distance between the initial and final positions of the particle. The direction of the displacement of the particle will be taken along the straight line from the initial position to the final position. So you don't start writing the notes simultaneously while I am explaining. You need not write running notes now. After a part of the discussion is completed, I'll be showing the typed notes or PowerPoint on the screen. Then you can copy the notes if you are interested to write the notes. Of course, if you have these classes in your system at home, then it is not compulsory necessary, may not be necessary to write the notes. You can go through the any topic at any time you like. So coming to the terms distance and displacement. Suppose if a particle moves from one point A to another point B along a curved path, then the distance covered by the particle is the total length of this curve or path along which the particle has traveled, which is a scalar quantity. But displacement is a vector quantity having both magnitude and direction. The magnitude of the displacement is the shortest distance between the initial position A and final position B. That means magnitude of the displacement of the particle, length of the straight line joining the initial position and final position of the particle. The direction of displacement of the particle will be along the straight line from the initial position toward the final position. So in this example, which is greater? I mean distance or magnitude of displacement? So in this case, distance covered by the particle is greater than the magnitude of displacement of the particle. Or you can say magnitude of the displacement of the particle is less than the distance covered by the particle. Because magnitude of the displacement of the particle is defined as the shortest distance between the initial and final positions of the particle, which can never be greater than the actual distance covered by the particle. Suppose if the particle moves in a straight line path with no change in the direction of its motion, I mean with no change in the direction of its velocity. Let P be the position of the particle at a particular instant of time t equal to t1. And Q is the position of the particle at a later instant of time t equal to t2. So in this case, distance covered by the particle during the time interval delta t equal to t2 minus t1 is equal to length of the path, straight line path from P to Q. If there is no change in the direction of its velocity, when the particle moves from P to Q, even the magnitude of displacement of the particle in the time interval delta t equal to t2 minus t1 is also equal to the length of the line PQ. That means in this example, the magnitude of the displacement of the particle for the time interval delta t is same as the distance covered by the particle during the same time interval. Whereas in this example, I mean when the particle moves in a curved path, the magnitude of displacement of the particle will be less than the distance covered by the particle. So in general, when a particle is in motion for a certain interval of time, the magnitude of displacement of the particle will always be less than or equal to the distance covered by the particle. The magnitude of displacement of the particle cannot be greater than the actual distance covered by the particle. So if you divide both sides with the time interval delta t, magnitude of the displacement of the particle divided by time interval delta t gives you what? Magnitude of the displacement of the particle divided by time interval delta t gives you magnitude of average velocity of the particle. For the time interval delta t. Distance covered by the particle divided by time interval delta t gives you the average speed of the particle. That means, in general, if a particle is in motion for a certain interval of time delta t, the magnitude of displacement of the particle will be less than or equal to the distance covered by the particle, and the magnitude of average velocity of the particle will be less than or equal to the average speed of the particle. If the particle suppose moves in a straight line path with no change in the direction of its velocity, then magnitude of the displacement covered will be equal to the distance covered, and magnitude of average velocity of the particle will be same as the average speed of the particle. Next, coming to the term speed. The speed of the particle can be defined as the rate of change in the distance covered, or you can say that speed of the particle represents the time rate at which distance is covered by the particle. You can speed of a particle may be constant in some examples, and speed of the particle may not be constant in other examples. We can say that a particle is moving with constant speed if it covers equal distances in successive equal intervals of time, however small these time intervals may be. So if a particle moves with constant speed, we can write the speed of the particle is equal to the distance covered by the particle divided by time taken by the particle. Or you can write distance covered by the particle is equal to the speed of the particle multiplied by the time taken or time interval. Distance is a scalar quantity, therefore speed is also a scalar quantity. But if a particle moves with constant speed, you cannot conclude that its velocity is also constant. Velocity is a vector quantity. Velocity of a particle is defined as rate of change of position vector of the particle or rate of change of displacement of the particle. So velocity being a vector quantity, velocity is said to be constant for a time interval only when there is no change in the magnitude of velocity and also no change in the direction of the velocity. So in some examples, speed of the particle may be constant, but velocity may not be constant. That means if the particle suppose covers equal distances in successive equal intervals of time, even when the time intervals are very small, then you can say that its speed is constant even though direction of the motion of the particle changes. But in some cases, speed may be constant, but velocity may not be constant. Velocity may be changing. Example, in the case of uniform circular motion, I mean when the particle moves in the circular path with uniform speed, we say that circular motion is uniform. In this case, speed is uniform, but velocity is not uniform. That means in uniform circular motion, speed of the particle remains constant, but velocity of the particle is not constant because the direction of the velocity changes continuously from instant to instant, and due to which the particle will have an acceleration. That means if a particle moves with constant speed, its velocity may not be constant and it may have an acceleration. But if it is given that a particle moves with constant velocity, you can conclude that its speed is also constant and its acceleration is 0. So acceleration is defined as rate of change of velocity of the particle. We say that particle has an acceleration only if its velocity changes, either in direction or in magnitude or both in direction and magnitude. So if the speed of a particle is constant, speed can be the distance covered by time taken, and its velocity may not be constant and it may have an acceleration. So a particle is said to be moving with variable speed or non-uniform speed if the particle covers unequal distances in successive equal intervals of time. If the speed of the particle is not constant, then average speed of the particle is calculated by dividing the total distance covered with the total time taken. So coming to the term velocity, we discuss this term velocity and the terms of average velocity, instant and velocity. So velocity of a particle is defined as rate of, in the school level you say velocity defined as rate of change of displacement. So velocity of a particle can be defined as rate of change of position of the particle with respect to time. So coming to the term average velocity, let us suppose r1 bar is the position vector of a particle with respect to fixed origin of a coordinate system, a particular instant of time t equal t1. Let r2 bar denote the position vector of the particle at a later instant of time t equal t2. That means this point represents the initial position of the particle, and this point represents the final position of the particle. So the magnitude of the displacement of the particle during the time interval delta t equal to t2 minus t1 is equal to length of the straight line joining the initial and final positions. Direction of the displacement of the particle is from initial position to final position. So displacement vector of the particle, as discussed earlier in vectors, we can written as S bar, will be equal to the change in the position vector of the particle, which is denoted by delta R bar. That is R2 bar minus R1 bar. In the earlier in vectors, I have denoted the same thing as written as RF bar minus RI bar. That means RI bar is the position vector of initial position. RF bar is the position vector of final position. Therefore, average velocity vector of the particle so average velocity. So if a particle in motion for the time interval delta t equal to t2 minus t1, such that r1 bar is the position vector of the particle at the instant t equal to t1, and r2 bar is the position vector of the particle at later instant of time t equal to t2, then average velocity of the particle in vector form or average velocity vector, we can write v bar subscript av given by r2 bar minus r1 bar by t2 minus t1, or you can write delta r bar by delta t. So average velocity is also a vector. Direction of the average velocity is same as the direction of the change in the position vector, or same as the direction of the displacement of the particle. So if the time interval delta t is very small, then this average velocity vector for the time interval delta t approaches the velocity at the instant of time t equal to t1. So the instantaneous velocity of the particle at the instant of time t equal to t1 is given by v bar equal to limit delta t tending to 0 delta r bar by delta t. So mathematically it is written as, if the time interval delta t is very small, we say infinitesimally small means tending to 0. then this average velocity for the time interval delta t approaches the velocity at the instant t equal to t1. So in calculus, instantaneous velocity at the instant t equal to t1 here. So in the calculus notation, the same thing is written as v bar equal to dr bar by dt. So the instantaneous velocity of the particle in calculus notation, we write v bar equal to dr bar by dt. Here dr bar represents change in the position vector of the particle during the infinitesimally small interval of time dt between the two instants of time t equal to t1 and t equal to t1 plus dt. So suppose if the particle moves in the xy plane, then average velocity vector, we write delta r bar by delta t. As I discussed earlier in vectors, delta r bar you can write I cap into delta x plus j cap into delta y. Here delta x is a difference between the x coordinate in the final position minus x coordinate at the initial position. Delta y is the difference between the y coordinate at the instant t equal to t2 and y coordinate at the instant t equal to t1. And instantaneous velocity of the particle, I mean when the particle moves in xy plane at the instant t equal to t1, as I written before, we write v equal to dr bar by dt. And the time interval delta t is infinitesimally small, means tending to 0. Then delta t will be replaced by dt. And in place of delta x, we write dx. In place of delta y, we write dy. Then dr bar you can write I cap into dx plus j cap into dy. Or the instantaneous velocity of the particle. The particle moves in the xy plane is written in the form v bar equal I cap into vx plus j cap into vy. Where vx represents the x component of velocity of the particle, which you can write dx by dt. Vy represents the y component of velocity of the particle, which you can write it as dy by dt. Suppose if the particle moves with constant velocity, it implies that its speed is also constant and its acceleration is 0. So if a particle moves with constant velocity, we can say that a particle is moving with constant velocity if it covers equal displacements in successive equal intervals of time, even if the time intervals are very, very, very small. So in general, a particle is said to be moving with constant velocity if the particle undergoes equal displacements in successive equal intervals of time, however small the time intervals may be. That means if a particle moves with constant velocity, it means or implies that its speed is constant and it is no change in the direction of motion. That means the particle must be moving in a straight line path and its acceleration is 0. So when the particle moves with constant velocity, then instantaneous velocity will be same as the average velocity. When the particle moves with constant velocity, then instantaneous velocity will be equal to the average velocity. I mean when velocity is constant. Therefore, displacement of the particle in vector form in time interval delta t will be written as v bar into delta t. That means when the particle moves with uniform velocity, we write displacement of the particle is equal to velocity at the time interval. At the school level, we write in the simpler form in the scalar notation s equal to vt. That means when the particle moves in a straight line path with uniform velocity, magnitude of the displacement can be written as magnitude of velocity into time interval. Suppose if the velocity of the particle is not constant, in that case average velocity of the particle is found by dividing the net displacement of the particle with the time interval. So once I would like to revise the discussion I have done so far, that means I am going to show you the notes or PowerPoint presentation of what I have discussed. That means I would like to summarize the entire discussion, and those students who are interested to write the notes, they can next copy what I will be showing on the screen from now onwards, which is in the PowerPoint form, that is a typed form. So wherever required, you can take a pause. So now I would like to once revise what I have already discussed so far in kinematics. So I am going to show you the notes on the screen or PowerPoint presentation of the notes. So those students who are interested to write the notes, they can copy this part. If they don't find the time I give is not sufficient to write the note, they can take a pause wherever required and write the notes. This is nothing but what I am going to show you on the screen is nothing but the notes which I used to dictate in the past in the regular classes. That is a summary of the conclusions. Show you here, see the screen here. I am showing you the notes. First, distance and displacement. If a particle is in motion for a certain interval of time, the magnitude of displacement of the particle will be less than or equal to the actual distance covered by the particle. And the magnitude of average velocity of the particle will be less than or equal to its average speed. So if you need time to copy the notes, you can take a pause and copy the notes. Next, second point, see. The particle moves in a straight line path with no change in the direction of its velocity. Then the magnitude of the displacement will be equal to the distance covered by it and the magnitude of its average velocity will be equal to its average speed. I mean, when the particle moves in a straight line path with no change in the direction of velocity, the magnitude of the displacement will be same as the distance covered, and magnitude of average velocity will be equal to its average speed. If a particle, next coming to the turn speed, if a particle moves with constant speed, then speed is equal to distance covered by time taken. Its velocity may not be constant and it may have an acceleration. If speed is not constant, then average speed is equal to total distance covered by total time taken. Coming to the term velocity, if r1 bar and r2 bar are the position vectors of a particle at the instant of time t equal to t1 and t equal to t2 respectively, an average velocity vector of the particle is given by v bar subscript av equal to r2 bar minus r1 bar by t2 minus t1, or it is written as v bar subscript av equal to delta r bar by delta t. The instantaneous velocity of the particle at the instant of time t equal to t1 is given by v bar equal to limit delta t tending to 0 delta r bar by delta t, or v bar equal to dr bar by dt. If a particle moves with constant velocity, then instantaneous velocity will be same as the average velocity. Displacement is equal to velocity into time interval. Its speed is also constant, and its acceleration is 0. That means if a particle moves with constant velocity, all these four conclusions are applicable, true. If velocity of the particle is not constant, then average velocity is equal to net displacement divided by time interval. The particle moves in the xy plane, then its velocity can be expressed as v bar equal to dr bar by dt, and dr bar can be written as I cap into dx plus j cap into dy. So dx and dy are changing the position coordinates during the infinitesimally small interval of time dt. Or you can write v bar equal to I cap into vx plus j cap into vy. Of course, it is understood that I cap is unit vector along positive x-axis, j cap is unit vector along positive y-axis. Here vx equal to dx by dt and vy equal to dy by dt. So vx is x component of velocity, vy is called the y component of velocity of the particle. So now I am going to solve the first problem in kinematics here based on the discussion I have done. I am going to solve two problems in this class. First, I will be showing you the problem 1. Particle moves in a circular path with uniform linear speed v. Find the magnitudes of its average velocity and change in the velocity in terms of v during the time interval when it completes. First part of the question, 1/6 of a revolution. Second part of the question, 3/4 of a revolution. So in case you want to copy the problem, you can copy the problem and try it yourself. There are two more parts, another 2 or 3 parts here in the problem. That the particle is moving in a circular path with uniform speed v. You have to find a magnitude of its average velocity and change velocity in terms of v during the time interval when it completes 1/6 of a revolution. That is the first part question. Second part question, 3/4 of revolution. In case you want to copy the problem, you can take a pause and copy this problem. And third part of the question, 2/3 of a revolution, Fourth one, 2.5 revolutions. Fifth one, 3.5 revolutions. Can copy the problem. Can take a pause and copy the problem. And you can try to do it yourself. If you want to try to do it yourself, you can take a pause and first you try to do it yourself now. Look at the answers then. So now I'm going to show you the answers for the problem which I have just shown you now. For the first question, you get the answer as 21v by 22 and v. It means magnitude of average velocity is 21v by 22 and magnitude of change in velocity is v. For second question, you get the answer as 2 root 2 v by 3 pi and v root 2. It means magnitude of the average velocity is 2 root 2 v by 3 pi and magnitude of change in velocity is v root 2. For third question, you get the answers as 3 root 3 v by 4 pi and v root 3. It means magnitude of average velocity 3 root 3 v by 4 pi and magnitude of change in velocity is v root 3. For fourth question, you get the answers as 7v by 55 and 2v. For fifth question, you get the answers as v by 11 and 2v. In case you already got the answers, it's okay. Next, I am going to solve this problem. I am going to discuss the solution of the problem. Some of the students might have already got the answers for all the 5 parts of the question. So they can switch over this class. I mean, in this class now I am just going to discuss the solutions of these 5 questions, 5 parts of the problem. So in case some of the students might have got the answers for all the 5 parts of the question, so they can skip the solutions which I am going to discuss now in this class and they can directly switch over to the next class. So in case you did not get the answers for any one of the questions, you can look at the solutions. So in this problem, your particle moves in the circular path with uniform speed. So in this example, speed of the particle is constant, but velocity of the particle is not constant because the direction of the velocity changes. Let A be the position of the particle at the instant we started counting time at t equal to 0 or t1 equal to 0. And B is the position of the particle after time interval t or t2 equal to t. You are asked to find in the first part of the question magnitude of the average velocity of the particle when it completes 1/6 of the revolution. The particle completes 1 revolution. As you know, the angular displacement will be 360 degrees. So for 1/6 of the revolution, the angular displacement of the particle will be 60 degrees. Let C be the center of the circular path. That means when it completes 1/6 of revolution, it moves from A to B here. This angle ACB will be 60 degrees. Or you can convert into radian. That is pi/3 radian. So magnitude of average velocity is equal to magnitude of the displacement divided by time interval. Let small r denote the radius of the circular path. The center of circular path denoted by C or sometimes by O. Can choose the center of the circular path as the origin of the coordinate system. So A is the initial position of the particle and B is the final position of the particle. So magnitude of the displacement of the particle is the shortest distance between the initial position A and final position B. That is the length of the line AB. You can observe that in this triangle OAB, length of the line OA equal to R. That means the radius of circular path. Length of the line OB equal to R. That is the radius of circular path. That means OAB is a isosceles triangle because the lengths of the two sides OA and OB are equal. And this included angle is 60 degrees. Therefore, and it's because it is isosceles triangle, these two angles must be same. So this angle is 60. That means sum of other two angles is 180 degree minus 60 or 120 degrees. So other two angles are equal. Means each of them is half of 120 degrees or 60 degrees. That means you can conclude that OAB is an equilateral triangle. So magnitude of the displacement of the particle is equal to length of the line AB, which is equal to radius of circular path. So magnitude of the average velocity is equal to magnitude of the displacement divided by time interval. It is given that the particle moves with uniform speed. The particle moves with uniform speed, then distance covered by the particle can be written as speed of the particle multiplied by time interval. The particle moves with uniform speed, then the distance covered by the particle is equal to speed of the particle multiplied by time interval. Here distance covered is equal to 1/6 of circumference 2 pi r. That means distance covered is the length of the circular arc from A to B. So distance covered by the particle when it completes 1/6 of the revolution will be equal to 1/6 of the circumference 2 pi r. The speed is denoted by V. Let T be the time interval. So you get time interval equal to pi r by 3V. So magnitude of the average velocity of the particle is equal to magnitude of the displacement of the particle divided by time interval. Magnitude of the displacement equal to r. So time interval is pi r by 3V. Or you can write 3V by pi. Or you can also write this V. Pi is equal to 22/7. So you can write it 21V by 22. That's the answer for the magnitude of the average velocity. To find magnitude of change in velocity, you can observe that direction of the velocity at the point A will be along the tangent to circle at A. Direction of the velocity at the point B will be along the tangent to circle at B. So angle between the final velocity vector v2 bar at B and the initial velocity vector v1 bar at the point A is the angle between the tangents to the circle at the points A and B. The angle between the tangents to the circle at the points A and B will be same as the angle between the radii, between the two radii of the circle at the points A and B, which is equal to 60 degrees. So in this case, the modulus of vector v2 bar is same as the modulus of vector v1 bar, which was denoted by V. That is, magnitude of the velocity vector is constant. Only direction of the velocity vector is changing. There is one result which I discussed in the past in subtraction of vectors. If two vectors A bar and B bar have same magnitude, then magnitude of the vector difference A bar minus B bar is given by 2A sine theta by 2. So in general, if two vectors A bar and B bar having same magnitude are suppose inclined to each at an angle theta, then magnitude of vector difference A bar minus B bar equal to 2A sine theta by 2. Of course, in general, we can use the formula root of A square plus B square minus 2AB cos theta otherwise. So using that formula, magnitude of the change in the velocity vector mod of V2 bar minus V1 bar equal to 2V sine theta by 2. Here theta is 60 degrees. Because mod of V2 bar is same as mod of V1 bar. That means in place of A bar you have V2 bar here. In place of B bar you have V1 bar. That is 2V sine 30 degrees. Sine 30 degrees is 1 by 2. So you get V. That means the magnitude of the change in the velocity vector of the particle will be V. So if you want to, this is the, that means the answers, these are the answers for the first question, 21V by 22 and V. So if you want to copy the working, you can take a pause and copy the solution of this problem. In the second part of the question, you have to find the magnitude of the average velocity of the particle and also magnitude of change in velocity of the particle during the time interval when it completes 3/4 of the revolution. Let A be the initial position of the particle at T1 equal to 0. After completing 3/4 of the revolution, it reaches the point B. That means the angular displacement for 3/4 of the revolution will be 3/4 of 360 degrees or 270 degrees. So A is the initial position of the particle and B is the final position of the particle during the time interval when it completes 3/4 of the revolution. So magnitude of the displacement is the shortest distance between the initial position A and final position B. So magnitude of the displacement of the particle is equal to length of the line AB. So direct of the displacement from initial to final, A to B. So here AOB is a right angle triangle. So magnitude of the displacement of the particle write it as S equal length of the line AB. Here the length of the line OA equal radius of circular path. The length of the line OB is also equal radius of circular path. Here small r represents the radius of circular path. So this is equal to root of OA square plus OB square. Or you can write root of R square plus R square. So magnitude of the displacement equal to R into root 2. To find the magnitude of average velocity, you have to find the time interval in moving from A to B. It moves from A to B, the figure in anti-clockwise direction. So when the particle moves with constant speed, Then distance covered can be written as speed of the particle into time interval. Yes, speed is denoted by v. So when it completes 3/4 of the revolution, the distance covered is equal to 3/4 of circumference 2 pi r. The time interval I denoted by t. Speed of the particle denoted by v. So the time interval will be 3 pi r by 2v from this. Therefore, magnitude of the average velocity of the particle is equal to magnitude of the displacement by time interval. That will be r into root 2 by 3 pi r by 2v. Or you can write it as 2 root 2 into v by 3 pi. That's the answer for magnitude of the average velocity. The velocity of the particle at any instant will be along the tangent to the circular path at that instant. So direction of the velocity at the point A will belong tangent to circle at A. So v1 bar is the initial velocity of the particle at the point A, which acts along the tangent to circle at A. That means perpendicular to the line OA. v2 bar is the final velocity of the particle after it has completed 3/4 of a revolution, which is along the tangent to circle at B. So v1 bar is perpendicular to OA, v2 bar is perpendicular to OB. Here OB is perpendicular to OA. That means in this figure, v2 bar is perpendicular to v1 bar. So direction of the vector v2 bar is perpendicular direction of the vector v1 bar. So using the formula for magnitude of vector difference of two vectors, that is mod of a bar minus b bar equal to root of a square plus b square minus 2ab cos theta. So mod of v2 bar minus v1 bar, you can write it as root of v2 square plus v1 square minus 2v1 v2 cos of the angle between v1 bar and v2 bar. That is 90 degrees. So in this case, mod of v2 bar is same as mod of v1 bar. That is denoted by b. So you get v root 2. So magnitude of the change in the velocity, you get v root 2. Magnitude of change in velocity, you will get it as v root 2. You can also use the earlier formula I have discussed in the first question. Mod of v2 bar minus v1 bar, you can write 2v sin theta by 2. So here the angle between the two vectors should be taken as 90 degrees. Those who want to copy the solution of this problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of this problem. So in the third question, you are asked to find magnitude of the average velocity and magnitude of change in velocity during the time interval when the particle complete 2/3 of revolution. So when the particle complete 2/3 of the revolution, the angular displacement will be 2/3 of the angular displacement for one revolution. That is 2/3 of 360 degrees. That will be how much? 2 into 120 degrees or 240 degrees. So let A be the initial position of the particle. From the instant we started timing or our observation at t1 equal to 0. Let B be the position of the particle after it has completed two-thirds of the revolution, that is angular displacement 240 degrees. It has moved in the anti-clockwise direction in the figure from the point A to the point B when it has completed 2/3 of the revolution. Let O be the center of the circular path. Length of line OA equal radius of circle. Length of line OB is also equal radius of circle. That means in the figure, this particular angle AOB in the figure will be equal to the smaller angle AOB. I mean this angle. 360 minus 240 degrees or 120 degrees. So magnitude of displacement is the shortest distance between the initial and final positions. That is from A to B. Here B the final position after it has completed 3/4 of the revolution. Direct of the displacement from initial to final. So length of line OA equal radius R, length of line OB is also equal radius R. So magnitude of the displacement of the particle or displacement you can write position vector of final position minus position vector of initial position. These two vectors have same magnitude. As I discussed in the past, if two vectors A bar and B bar have same magnitude, mod of A bar minus B bar equal to 2A sine theta by 2. Where theta is the angle between the two vectors A bar and B bar. So magnitude of the displacement of the particle can write mod of OB bar minus OA bar. Magnitude vector difference. That is 2R sine of the angle AOB or 2R sine 60 degrees. That will be 2R into root 3 by 2 or R into root 3. You can also find the magnitude of the displacement by applying sine rule for the triangle AOB. So this angle is 120 degrees. Triangle OAB is isosceles triangle because length OA is same as length OB, equal radius of circle. So some of the three angles at the, some of the three internal angles at the three vertices of any triangle is 180 degrees. So this angle is 120. So sum of other two angles here and here will be 180 minus 120 or 60 degrees. So this must be 30 degrees. This angle must be also 30 degrees. So you can apply sine rule for this triangle to find the magnitude of this displacement. I mean talking about alternate method, you can find magnitude of the displacement. If you apply the sine rule here for the same triangle, S by sine of 120 degrees is equal to R by sine 30 degrees. Sine 120 degrees is root 3 by 2, same as sine 60 degrees. Sine 30 degrees is 1 by 2. So you get the same conclusion, S equal to R into root 3. Next we have to find the time interval. The particle moves with constant speed. Distance covered is equal to speed into time interval. The particle moves with uniform speed. Distance covered equals speed into time interval. Given the particle complete 2/3 of the revolution, distance covered is equal to 2/3 of circumference 2 pi r. Speed is v. Time interval denoted by t. So the time interval will be 4 pi r by 3. So magnitude of the average velocity is equal to magnitude of the displacement divided by time interval. Magnitude of the displacement is r into root 3. Time interval is 4 pi r by 3v. This you can simplify to get the answer. So magnitude of the average velocity will get 3 root 3v by 4 pi. To find magnitude of change in velocity, how to? use the same formula which I used earlier problem. Velocity at A acts along the tangent to circle at A. Velocity at B acts along the tangent to circle at B. That means V1 bar is the initial velocity vector at the point A. V2 bar is the final velocity vector at the point B. So the smaller angle between these two vectors will be 120 degrees. So using this formula, if two vectors A bar and B bar have same magnitude, then mod of A bar minus B bar equal to A sin theta by 2. Using that formula, mod of V2 bar minus V1 bar 2V sin theta by 2. Here theta you take 120 degrees. You get the answer here, which I have given in the beginning. So if you want to copy the solution of this problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. Next two questions, you can try to do it yourself with the same procedure.